All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. So, the media is kind of ignoring a big story, the rock media, about Eric Clapton. And I was sent this story and it kind of surprised me because, you think you know everything that's going on in the world right now. And then you learn recently the 76-year-old Eric Clapton, who has had issues over the last few years, one of them being emphysema, all right, has had some severe reactions over the last 10 days. And he said, needless to say, the reactions were disastrous. My hands and feet were either frozen, numb, or burning, and pretty much useless for 2 weeks. He says, I feared that I would never play again. He says, I suffer with peripheral neuropathy and should have never done or did what I did. But everyone said it was the right thing to do. So Clapton goes on, says, I met a member of this group who counseled me to be careful and to have a look at what goes on with other research. I felt like a veil had been lifted. I was no longer alone, that it was okay, in fact, essential to hold on to my intuition and follow my heart. I continue to tread the path of passive rebellion and try to toe the line in order to be able to actively love my family. But it's hard to bite my tongue with what I know. Clapton who's recently recorded a song with Van Morrison called The Rebels, says it's not aggressive or provocative. It just asks the question, where have all the rebels gone? Hiding behind their computer screens. Where's the spirit? Where's the soul? Where have all the rebels gone? Clapton goes on and says, I've been a rebel all my life against tyranny and arrogant authority, which is what we have now, but I also crave fellowship, compassion, and love, and that I find here. So with his new group of friends, basically, people who have given him another perspective. Clapton goes on to say, I believe with these things, we can prevail. So you would think it would be kind of a big story when Eric Clapton says, I feared I would never play guitar again. I mean, you're talking about one of the greatest guitar players in history. And this didn't hit my feed on any other news sources, didn't hit my feed on national news. By the way, the song he's talking about, Van Morrison's latest song, Where Have All the Rebels Gone? I mean, this is some of the best work Van Morrison has done in years, not only with the lyrics, but musically speaking as well. Both Clapton and Morrison sound great together. You will really dig the guitar playing of Eric Clapton on this track. But here's a guy who says he didn't think he would ever play guitar again. And that's not in everybody's news feed. And things are starting to get really weird, folks. Outside of just the music scene, obviously, things are getting weird. But now some of that weirdness is beginning to infiltrate the music scene in a way that feels very dark and feels very lonely if you don't share the prevailing perspective or the perspective that you see when you turn on the television or the radio. So in case you didn't know about Eric Clapton, I figured I would throw it out there since nobody else seems to care. But I do. Been a Clapton fan since I don't know, probably mid-70s, late 70s. First song that really caught my attention by Eric Clapton was a tune called Wonderful Tonight. But of course, so much of that music was opened to me later when I became a classic rock DJ and realized that Eric Clapton was like the godfather of classic rock to some degree and one of the great guitar players of all time and still is. And isn't really being talked about, which is very weird. All right. I'm done. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and Patreon is just $1 per month, or $2 or $5, whatever you want it to be, really. Just $1 is the minimum amount. I'll be back with more, and I'll see you soon.